Hi, I'm Tony Russo, and this is In Case You Missed It from Kates-Boylston, funeral service news from around the internet for the week ending Friday, May 24th, 2024. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everyone. Before we get started, I just want to draw your attention to Funeral Service Insider, the newsletter, which is a weekly newsletter that I produce with stories and original reporting from around funeral service. I'm pretty sure we are the only ones who are doing this kind of original weekly reporting specifically on funeral service, and there are so many things going on. You should and can subscribe by going to Kates-Boylston.com or follow the link in the show notes. We also have several free articles that are always free to read. The In Case You Missed It stories, for example, are always free to read, and each week we pick out a story from the archives, or there's a current event story that we think is very important and everyone should have a chance to see it. So sometimes we do make the stories in front of the paywall, but if there's a story behind the paywall, like the two stories I'm about to talk about now, you can still read them. You just need to sign up with your email address, and we'd be happy to share that information with you. This week, I would like to direct you to what I'm considering kind of our rebuttal to a Wall Street Journal article that claimed that pre-need sales were specious at best and dicey at worst. The article claimed that you can't be sure what's going to happen to the money once you give it to a funeral director after you die, your family may not be able to get it back. In response to that, I did a profile on a gentleman named Scott Olson, and Mr. Olson has coincidentally that week had closed a deal with a local funeral home near Rockford, Illinois. And when I spoke with him about it, he said that he actually didn't buy the funeral home. He just bought the pre-need, and it wasn't the first time he'd done it. It's actually become, I don't know if it's right to say it's his practice, but certainly he's several times purchased the pre-need contracts and not purchased the funeral home, and sometimes purchase those pre-need contracts at a loss. The idea being it's better to have families keep the faith in funeral service and know that there's someplace that they can go that will honor their contracts rather than leaving them out in the cold with nothing to do. And I thought, especially on the heels of that Wall Street Journal article, that this was an important story to share. Beyond that, we have another submitted article, which is something that we rarely do, but the company National Guardian Life submitted a essentially line-by-line response to that Wall Street Journal article. And I think they very cleverly and very carefully took apart some of the biggest points and made it clear that the Wall Street Journal may have been trying to make a point, but they weren't making it with a lot of practical facts, practical experience. You can read the article for yourself. Again, it's behind the paywall, but you can sign up and read it for free. A bill to further regulate the funeral home industry has passed the Illinois State House and moved on to the Senate. We've reported before about the move to require a tagging system with chain of custody documentation for all human remains in the state. This move comes from the now infamous investigation into Hines Funeral Home / Family Care Cremations in Carlinville, Illinois, after dozens of families were given the wrong cremains. August Hines, the funeral director for Hines, has since had his embalming and funeral directing licenses revoked by the state. Increasingly, funeral homes are providing families with the option of tracking their loved ones throughout the process. We've reported several times on tech-forward funeral homes in Funeral Service Insider, and many of them are making this practice the norm. The bill now heads back to the Senate for a quick concurrence vote before it reaches the governor's desk. There was a minor amendment in the House that means it has to go back to the Senate, but it is expected to pass shortly. Arapahoe Community College Mortuary Science Department recently announced a new scholarship created by the Jeff Holcomb family and Continuing Vision LLC for mortuary science students at that college. Named after Jeff's son, funeral director Brian Holcomb, who died July 1st, 2022, Brian's Fund Mortuary Science Scholarship aims to support mortuary science students there who are facing financial challenges. This came to my attention because we have Faith Haug, who runs the mortuary science program at Arapahoe, coming up on Funeral Service Insider, the podcast, in the next couple weeks. And she's a really committed person. And I was excited to see that they have this opportunity to help more students in Colorado get through their mortuary science degree. In the story that I'm writing and in the podcast, you'll hear that Arapahoe Community College Mortuary Science Program was already inundated with applicants before any rules about licensure had changed in Colorado, and it is one of the very special programs in the country. If you'd like to donate, you can find a link to the story in the show notes, and from that link you can get directions actually on how to make your donation. 3 candidates are challenging Chatham County, Georgia coroner David Campbell Sr., who has been in office since January 1st, 2021 in an upcoming election. Democrats James Bernard Flowers and Charles O'Berry, along with Republican Tiffany Williams, are vying for the position, each raising concerns and proposing reforms aimed at addressing issues they see in the coroner's office. Flowers and O'Berry question Campbell's ownership of a funeral home while serving as coroner, citing potential conflicts of interest. Williams, with 20 years of experience in the coroner's office, said she left because of disagreements with Campbell. All 3 challengers prioritize reducing the county's death certificate backlog, which is a nationwide problem that many counties are struggling to deal with. Campbell has reduced the death certificate backlog to 30 days. Bottlenecks in reporting, a shortage of medical examiners, staffing shortages, and delays in obtaining medical records contribute to the remaining backlog. Funeral directors in Georgia must file death certificates within 72 hours. Getting medical records for the cause of death involves subpoenas and hospital visits, leading to delays. Toxicology and autopsy reports from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation can take months, with an average turnaround time of 87 days in Chatham County. The statewide average is 66. The county's autopsy report turnaround time is 138 days, while the state average is 99. Funeral home owners and directors allege that Campbell's business benefits from his position. The death certificate backlog has worsened under his administration, causing financial strain due to insurance claim delays. But Campbell denies any conflict of interest claims, saying he instructed his deputy coroners against recommending funeral homes. He emphasized that his service-based business and his son's management of that funeral home enable him to focus solely on his role as coroner. If this race continues to heat up and to get more contentious, we'll continue to provide coverage here on Funeral Service Insider in case you missed it. Last but not least, I wanted to wish a very special Memorial Day to all of you, but particularly to our friends in cemeteries who, I'm sure as I speak, are out there getting the last touches of their presentations in order and making sure that everything is great for what looks like it's going to be a really nice Memorial Day weekend. We appreciate the work that you do, and we are looking forward to doing more stuff in and around and about cemeteries in Funeral Service Insider. In case you missed it, is a Kates-Boylston production. It was written and edited by me, Tony Russo. I say it at the end of every show that I do, and this is a show I do, so I'll go ahead and say it. Please follow or subscribe, depending upon where you're getting this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. This show, this short version, comes out every Friday morning. However, next Friday, we will not have a show. I'll be traveling. I'm very excited to give one final plug, I guess, to the Kates-Boylston Funeral Service Business Plan Conference, June 4th and 5th in Warwick, Rhode Island. There are still some tickets available, and if you're in the Northeast and don't have to arrange any special flights or something, you can just make last-minute arrangements to pop by. It's going to be a great conference. I've been doing features, and all of the features that I've done about the speakers are available for free. Again, they're behind the paywall, but we put them in front of the paywall to get people excited as we were about this upcoming conference. You can find all of that at Kates-Boylston.com. And that will do us for this week. Thank you for joining us on In Case You Missed It. We'll check in with you next time.